Thank you for joining me for Christmas in July at the Fat Quarter Shop. Today we're working on block 3. We're going to be making 4 blocks. These are actually super easy and super quick compared to last week, so let's get started. First, we're going to have on this one only 2 strips. You'll want to have 2 different colors. And the first thing I'm going to do is, like I've done on all the others, I'm going to line up the jelly rolls so that I can trim them down. Now this is totally optional. You do not have to do this. I just like everything to be a little more precise, and so I'm going to actually trim these to exactly 2.5. Totally don't have to do it, but I prefer to. And I thought the pink and the green looked really good together. I do think on this block having 2 different colors is important so that there will be some differentiation. This is kind of like in the center of the quilt, so it needs a little contrast. So I'm going to trim this. And then I've got my design board with my alphabetties. And as I cut, I'm going to put them on my design board. The very first one we're going to cut is going to be the green one. So I'm going to put the green one, and we're going to cut this one first, and just cut according to your pattern. Now we have everything cut and ready on our design board, and we can start assembling our block. So the first step in the block is to make a 4-patch, and we're going to be sewing 1 block today since all of them are identical. And so you're going to have your fabric B and your fabric D squares. We're going to put them right sides together, chain piece them together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'll just put that design board just like this, put it to the side, and start stitching. I am going to be using the quick press seam roller so that I don't have to go back and forth to the iron. What I'll do is put these together, make sure the seams nest, pin right in the nest, put 1 more pin at the end, and we will finish the 4-patch. Then we're going to lay out on our design board the next part, and you'll want to make sure you have your 4-patch positioned correctly. And then you're going to add 2 fabric C rectangles and another fabric B rectangle. I'll put these right sides together and chain piece these together, stitching all the way down. will press these towards the white. Put those together. You will want to nest your seams and put a pin there. And I will also put a pin at the very end. And we will sew this and we will have our chain unit done. And now we're going to go back to our cutting table and work on our corner units. Our next step is going to be to draw a diagonal line on 2 of the fabric D squares from corner to corner. I'm using a friction pen. The ink will disappear with heat later. You could also use any type of marking pen that you like. And you're going to take 2 fabric A rectangles, and what I like to do is use my design board and lay it out the way that it goes real quick, and then I'm going to lay one going up, one going to the side, following my pattern. And then I'm going to put 2 pins in here. I love to put pins when I'm doing units like this because my results are much better because my fabric will not shift. And putting them on a design board and comparing it to your pattern also makes sure that you don't have any mistakes. So we're going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to stitch directly on the line, and we are going to use an open toe foot. So before we were stitching, we were using a 1/4 inch foot so that would sew our blocks together. This time we're going to be using an open toe foot so that we can stitch directly on that line and you can see the line through the center of the foot. And you can either start here or start here. If you start here, you will have better results than if you start here, because sometimes if you start here, your machine might jam up. So it's better to start on the long side. And now we'll go back to our cutting table. So now I'm going to just go ahead and trim a 1/4 inch away from the stitched line. You can either use a rotary cutter or scissors. Today I feel like using scissors. So sometimes I use scissors, sometimes I use a rotary cutter. Kind of depends what kind of mood I'm in. I'll set my seam, and that makes it nice and flat, and you'll see the ink has gone away. And then I will press toward the background print. And now we can build the final block. We have our original design board. We have the chain unit, and now we have to put these units down. So I'm going to kind of put them down and then figure out if they're going the right way. And they're not. So I will just change them. And so you don't want this intersection. So you see how these touch? You don't want that. You want it to look just like this. And then we're going to add a fabric E square here, here, and here. And we'll go to our sewing table. So I'll change my foot back to a 1/4 inch foot. And I'm going to stitch these 2 and press and then put it back on my design board. So I'm going to put it back where I had it. Use the seam roller. And then I'm going to stitch down this intersection. And I really do like to use pins. It's totally up to you if you use pins or not, whatever is most comfortable for you. I like to use pins that are very thin. They're easier to put in. And now we'll do one more press. And ever since I got this new seam roller, it really helps me not have to get up as much and go to the iron. I will always do a final press with the iron, but I'm all about saving time and getting stuff done. So if you don't have to get up every 5 seconds, it's going to save you time. So on this very last seam, I'm going to nest this seam. And just put a pin right before it. And you can add one more pin if you would like. When I remove the pins, I remove it right before I get to it. And now we can go give a final press. And so now everything is pressed and it looks awesome, and I'm going to trim up my block. You do not have to do this. I just prefer to do it so that when I get my quilt together, I have less strings on the edge. But you don't have to do that. It's totally optional. And when I'm trimming it, I'm just taking the little slivers off, and the goal is to get the excess threads off, not so much fabric. And it's just an extra step that I have always done. And again, it's totally optional. I just think it gives it a really nice finished look. And this is your frosted corner block. And you're gonna make 4 of them. Super easy. I think this is the easiest block in the quilt. And so you're going to make 4 of these blocks. They should measure 8.5 inches square. I hope you download the free pattern in the box below, and also come back next Thursday for part 4 for Christmas in July at the Fat Quarter Shop, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.